Thank you and welcome back to the channel. My name is Luke Thornton. If you're new here, I'm the host. Hey, we're doing something different. We're going to talk to people who are uh, living in a foreign country or living someplace different. Actually, the name of the show is I Live In, but I'm From. So I'm honored to have my very first guest, somebody I know extremely well who's been all over the world, Anwar Thornton. So
That's me. Nice to meet you guys.
welcome to the show, Anwar.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here.
All right. So listen, to let everybody know, where are you from and where are you now?
Sure. So I'm born and raised in Oak Park, Illinois, right side outside of Chicago, and currently I'm living in Ryugasaki, Japan, within Ibaraki Prefecture. And before this, I've also lived in Yamagata, Japan, in Higashine City, and I've also lived in Ayutthaya, Thailand before. So this is my third stop abroad.
Fantastic. You are doing what a lot of people wish that they could do. Okay, so Anwar, let's go ahead and let's get into the crux of it. There's going to be six questions, essentially six pods that are going to be really important to people who are interested in doing what you do. Um, First off, I have to ask you this. Are when you go shopping, are there stores like Walmart's over there?
Ooh, so this is a good question for Japan. Japan has this store called Don Quixote, which is funny with the name, because the whole story of Don Quixote. And I don't really know how it has that name, but I would say Don Quixote is the closest thing that Japan has to Walmart. Uh, Literally, I think people go to Don Quixote to wander the aisles. Don Quixote literally has everything you could possibly imagine, and that's kind of the feeling I get from Walmart is that they just have everything. So Don Quixote is about the same type of feel. Obviously, the products are a little bit different. I would say Don Quixote is more like some souvenirs that you may want to take home, and Walmart is maybe a little bit more for daily goods. But I can just say both of those stores have everything. So
Fantastic, fantastic. That's it's always good to know because people want to know those type of things when they're living abroad. Listen, how long have you been there now?
sure. So I have been in Ryugasaki City for about the past 5 months, and before that, I was living in Higashine in Yamagata for 2 years. And then also, I forgot actually, I also spent a year in Osaka, for a year during COVID in 2019 to 2020.
Fantastic. Hey, listen, so then the question becomes, uh, when you first made this decision to move abroad, okay, you had to have some expenses in mind. What's it like to rent an apartment? Do you have an apartment? Do you have a house?
Sure. So I currently am living in an apartment. So this year, I actually did all the apartment searching by myself, no help. Last year
How,
in Higashi,
how'd you go about doing that? What'd you do to go about doing it?
sure. So going about it, there's some major brands for apartment searching in Japan. The biggest one is called Sumo. Um, like the wrestling. But I actually looked on Sumo and found some very cheap options. For the viewers out there, another good option for looking for houses in Japan is called Leo Palace, or apartments in Japan is called Leo Palace. Leo Palaces, they come furnished and with internet connection, and they have English support available. So I would say if you're new to Japan and you're just looking for a place to live, Leo Palaces may be a bit more expensive, but everything's kind of taken care of for you, and they're also friendly towards foreigners. I'm currently living in a village house, which is another big brand of apartments in Japan. Village houses are actually unfurnished and don't come with internet. So if you move to a village house, you should be able to speak at least a bit of Japanese because you're gonna have to set up your own internet connectivity and you're gonna have to furnish your own apartment. So with my Japanese ability, I felt comfortable enough to choose a village house over a Leo Palace, but mainly because the village house is a little bit cheaper. But for those who are just coming to Japan, and maybe don't speak the language as well, I would suggest Leo Palace.
All right. So when you brought up language once already, um, so what would you suggest to live in Japan? Do you really need to be able to speak the language or not?
That depends where you live. Uh, I would say that if you are in Tokyo or Osaka, you should be fine with English. It's very useful to learn some Japanese. But overall, there's a decent amount of people that speak English in those places. If you move anywhere outside of those places, you need to know Japanese. Currently I'm living about an hour and a half away from Tokyo. And even though it's pretty close to Tokyo, honestly, completely different vibe. This is the country. I'm living kind of in the country right now, and I'm kind of working in the country. So yes, Japanese language is a must here. But even if you do live in Tokyo or Osaka, a city where many people may speak English, I would highly suggest learning some basic Japanese. It'll help you a lot.
Okay. So you live your daily life speaking Japanese, and yet you grew up here in the United States.
Yes, I do. I usually spend my daily life speaking Japanese. My job, I currently working as an event coordinator. I'm working at the Moriya City Central Community Center as an event coordinator. So my job is basically to plan events and market those events and then run those events. And my job is
Okay.
completely conducted in Japanese. So there are plenty of jobs for people who can't speak Japanese, but yes, I do have a Japanese speaking job.
Fantastic. By the way, you did mention you are the event and marketing coordinator for Japanese Sports Institute. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay.
name of the
Thank you.
company is Japan
Um,
Sports Promotion Institute.
Japanese. Okay, Japan. Say that again, please.
Japan Sports Promotion Institute. Japan
Okay.
Sports
Thank you.
Promotion Institute. Yeah,
Okay. All right. So getting a job there. How did you go about getting a job in Japan?
sure. So this is a great question and a good place to start. So there are two major sites for foreigners looking to get a job in Japan. The first one you should know is called Gaijin Pot. Gaijin means foreigner in Japan. So this is an English job board that's specifically made for foreigners who speak English. They have plenty of jobs on there if you're interested in English teaching, if you're interested in lawyer work. They have plenty of jobs on that site. And especially for those English speakers, all of the companies and jobs that are posted on Gaijin Pot, they are looking to hire foreign employees. So I say that my number one suggestion is Gaijin Pot. Um, my second job searching site in Japan would be DaiJob. DaiJob is another job searching board specifically for foreigners. However, DaiJob on their job website, they usually have some more jobs that involve Japanese speaking, whereas Gaijin Pot has many English speaking jobs available. And I would say the user layout on Gaijin Pot is a little bit easier, but I think DaiJob has more options. And the final way to look for jobs in Japan is LinkedIn. LinkedIn has plenty of jobs postings in Japan, and I think especially the ones on LinkedIn, they may be higher ranking positions. So maybe if you've got some experience or you've been working in your home country for a long time and you're not just entry level, I would say LinkedIn is the best way to go.
Okay, thank you very much. So what I'll do for our viewers is I will post those links to those different aid for how to find housing and for how to find a job in Japan. So you mentioned finding a job. I'm sure you need a visa. What's the visa process like?
Sure. So currently I have an humanities specialties in humanity specialist in humanities visa. So my actually like it's the same visa that engineers have. But when you come to Japan, you will have to get a visa. When I first came to Japan, I initially got a education visa because I used to work as a teacher. Um, so recently, I could tell you about my process from switching from the education visa to the engineer specialties and specialist in humanities visa. So first of all, once you get hired, you're gonna ask your company um, to write a form or something, and you're going to have to bring that to the immigration office. So the immigration office in Tokyo is always crowded. So if you can, I would suggest going to the immigration office in Mito, Ibaraki. If you are living in Tokyo, it's still pretty close and it's much less packed. And the people there treated me really well. Once you go to immigration, they first will let you know what documents you need. So you take what immigration says, you bring it back to your company, and you get those documents. They also might ask if you have been living in Japan for a while, they might ask you for some tax documents. So to get those tax documents, you are going to go to the place you previously lived in Japan, to the city hall, and you're going to ask the city hall to mail you those tax documents. I used to live in Higashine in Yamagata, so I had to send a mail to the city hall in Yamagata, and they mailed me back my tax documents, which I then brought to the immigration office. They're gonna ask for what your salary is. They're gonna ask how much the company earned. They want to know that you are. They're gonna want to check your criminal record to make sure you have nothing on you. They really want to make sure that you officially have a real job, that you're earning money, and that you can uh, earn a living, basically. So finally, once you've gotten all your documents turned into the immigration office, they will basically either mail you a card or you can go back in and pick it up. And then I think you will have to pay a total of 6,000 yen, which is about $40 to get your card. Um,
Mhm.
and finally, this is an important step. And actually, I messed this step up. So I think the viewers should really pay attention to this. Um, Once you get your actual visa, you need to go to the city hall in the city that you live in and inform them that you've changed or gotten a visa. I personally forgot to do this step and I messed up. And luckily, the people at my city hall were really nice about it. But I'm sure maybe if you live in a different place and you mess up that final step of not showing that you've changed your visa to the city hall, it could cause a lot of problems. You can get fined or you may get a warning, which could potentially lead to deportation. So that's that last part. Pay attention to that last part. Definitely go to the city hall after you've gotten your visa.
Well, thank you for the insights on that. All right, so let's move this down the line just a little bit. Um, so you have your visa, you're working every day. Now you need to have a bank account. In the US, you go to Citibank, you go to US Bank or Chase or anybody like that, and you walk in, you open up an account and you have direct deposit. What's it like when you're in Japan? Is it the same?
Sure. So it basically is the same. However, so when you go to make your bank account, first of all, you need a Japanese phone number. So, um, first of all, I would say get a phone and get a Japanese phone number um, before you go to the bank. And you need that phone number to register for a bank account. Um, So what they're gonna give you once you register your bank account is this thing called a passbook. In Japanese, it's tsucho. So they're gonna give you this passbook, and that's basically your entire bank account So you can sign up for a card, but for sure they will give you that passbook. And once you get that passbook, you can put it into most ATMs in Japan that are aligned with your bank. So my current bank is JP Post. I think JP Post is the most widely available bank. There's locations all around Japan. And so if you're just getting started, I'm sure there's banks with better rates, but the easiest one to get started on is probably JP Post, and the most widely available bank is also JP Post.
Okay. So listen, you brought up the Japanese yen earlier. Currently, what is a US dollar equivalent in yen?
Sure. So I'm not exactly sure on the number, but I think about $1 is about 170 yen. That may not be exactly correct. But the way I like to think about it is, for example, if I spend 1,000 yen at the store in Japan, that's probably about $6, $7. So yeah, that's just the way I like to think about it. I just like to think about it in the way that an 1,000 yen bill is about a 10, and 100 yen is about $1. But really, the yen is kind of weak right now, so actually, 100 yen is like 70 cents. But yeah, that's the way I just like to think about it. It makes it easier coming from an American perspective.
So, couple quick questions here. Do you drive?
I do drive. I do
Do you
drive.
have a do you have a Japanese driver's license or can you use your US driver's license?
Sure. So when you come to Japan, you cannot drive on an American driver's license. However, there is a workaround to where you don't have to actually get a Japanese driver's license. I do have a Japanese driver's license, but when I first came to Japan, you can go to AAA and order an international license. There's no testing for this. All you have to do is just send in whatever money they ask you to and present them with your American license, and you can get an international license. If you have that international license, you are able to drive in Japan. So you can go rent a car and take it around. Obviously, in Japan, they do drive on the opposite side of the road as we do in America. So always be careful of that. I would say get some practice driving on the left side of the road, just to get used to it. But once you've had your international license for a while and you decide to get a Japanese license, honestly, you will have to take a written test. You'll have to take another driver's test, and you'll have to take an eye test to get the Japanese driver's license. However, if you don't speak any Japanese, don't worry. The written test is in English, and the driving test, there's no language involved in it. It's driving. So
Thank you. Oh, let's talk about a little bit of personal thing. Let's get off all of this, these things. You're looking spiffy. You look sharp today. How did you go about finding your barber, and how did you go about finding a doctor? You know, heck, how'd you find out your favorite place to shop for clothes? What did you do?
ooh, okay. So barber. Let's start with barber. Obviously, I'm African American, right? There's not a lot of African Americans in Japan. There's not a lot of black skin going around here. However, there are some black barbers if you go down to Tokyo, but I can't afford to go to Tokyo every time I want a haircut. So, there is kind of a difference of barbers in Japan. So, there's something in Japanese, baba, which is it sounds racist, but it's not. It's just the Japanese pronunciation of the word barber. And those are usually younger people, and the haircut may be a little bit more expensive, but they know the modern styles. So if you're black, I would suggest going to a baba over a tokoyasan. So a tokoyasan is basically just another barber, but they have very cheap haircuts. And usually it's done by someone who may not know the latest fashion trends or have never dealt with a foreigner's hair before. So I'm just saying this from a black perspective, but if you're black, first of all, like the best option is probably to find a black barber in Tokyo if you can afford to get down to Tokyo or if you just live in Tokyo. If you can't find a black barber in Tokyo, I would say next try a baba. At least they'll know like the younger style, and you know they'll do a decent enough job. And then if you are broke and you just need to just get some of it off, go to a tokoyasan, you're not going to get the best cut, but it's going to be very cheap.
Okay. Do you have a doctor or do you have a dentist there?
Yeah, so I do have a doctor. Mainly I have eczema, so I've been going to a dermatologist to get my skin looked at. I also needed some medicine, tried to get it prescribed. One doctor did prescribe it to me, the other doctor didn't. So that'll vary by the doctor. But yeah, going about finding a doctor, uh, a good source is probably Reddit. You can go on Reddit and search English speaking doctors in Tokyo, and there's always going to be a populated list somewhere on that site. So, yeah, I would definitely say check out Reddit for uh, not barber, doctor recommendations. And yeah, really, I would say try to do your best to connect with the local community, especially the foreigners. And, they'll talk about their experiences with their doctors, and they should be able to lead you to a doctor that's friendly and will treat foreigners as well.
Okay. Do you have to have medical insurance there? How do you, is that part of your employment or do you have to buy it separately or is it provided by the government?
Sure. So let me just go with my example. So with my company, I have some benefits. One of them is health insurance. So I do have health insurance. Most companies will, once you get your contract, you will have health insurance. So as long as you have like a legal job, I don't know what you guys are doing out there. If you guys have some illegal job or something, but for most of those with a legal job, I think they will provide you with health care, health insurance. So I've never really had a problem with that.
So
Um,
since you are
but also
there
I think
living
that
on it, so
yeah.
since you are there now living on a visa, is medical insurance required or is it
Um, I do.
provided by the government?
So I do believe it's required, and if your company doesn't hook you up with health insurance, I do believe there is a national plan that you can get on. But I do believe that is required. Yeah,
Well, I missed something. I wanted to go back. I know this. You recently bought a car. What's the
I did.
car buying process like in Japan?
Sure. So actually, this is a good segue because we were just talking about insurance, all right? So, one thing about driving in Japan, um, the first thing to know is shaken. So, in Japan, unlike America, shaken is basically your insurance. So, when you get a car, you will have to take it to shaken. And shaken is basically a vehicle examination. So, they'll make sure that the vehicle is safe to drive, there's nothing wrong with it. And once you complete shaken, you will get insurance that is with the car. So that is the once you do shaken, um, that is the only insurance you need. They'll give you a form, and that is your completed insurance. However, I've learned that according to most Japanese people, the basic like the necessary insurance isn't enough. You should get the extra coverage. So currently I don't have that extra coverage right now. So I'm currently working on getting that extra coverage. But I would definitely say get the extra coverage if you can, because that covers you in the event of an accident that you cause. Or so yeah, just get the extra insurance. Trust me. In terms of buying a car in Japan, there are plenty of used lots everywhere in Japan. Japan is one of the biggest car manufacturers in the world, so you cannot go down the road without finding a car shop. When you get in there, uh, the used cars will probably be somewhere from 20 250,000 yen to maybe 1 million yen for a used car. and then obviously the newer ones will be more expensive unused. Um, in terms of the buying process, I went in. They had me look around the cars. They always tell you the information on Shaken, which I mentioned before. They tell you how many kilometers the car has been driven, and also give you a history of the accidents that the vehicle has been in. For example, I tried to buy a car from a dealership not too long ago, but they said this car had had some problems with the engine overheating. Because they told me the history of the car, I decided not to purchase that one, even though it was pretty cheap. But yeah, overall, the car buying process in Japan was pretty straightforward. I would just say when you're looking for a car in Japan, first you want to look at the shaken and see how much shaken it has remaining. Shaken usually lasts about 2 years. So you'll have insurance coverage for 2 years. And once you have to, every 2 years, you have to redo the shaken, which means you have to get new insurance. And that can be very expensive. Like, in fact, most people like do their best to get a car with shotgun remaining, so you don't have to pay for another shotgun. So sometimes the dealership may include the price of shotgun within the car, which I think I just recently purchased a car, and I think they put the price of the shotgun within the price of the new car, um, because they're redoing the shotgun for me. But yeah, it's really overall a pretty simple process, and I don't think
Okay.
you should worry about finding a spot to buy a car because they're everywhere. Absolutely
All right.
everywhere.
So we've learned that. Listen, for my viewers, again, I will post all of this below in the comment section in the description. Uh, the links to how to find a job, how to find an apartment, how to buy a car, and the necessary links for to get a visa when you were in Japan. Um, so listen, we're gonna bring this around. Uh, Again, one more question on the transportation. I've been to Japan, completely enamored with their public transportation. But if you could talk about that briefly, I certainly would appreciate it.
Sure. So, especially if you are living in Tokyo or Osaka, you do not need a car. You absolutely do not need a car. The train and buses can take you absolutely everywhere. It's amazing. I personally lived in Osaka for a year, and I never felt like I needed a car. In fact, if I stayed there, I would have never even thought of buying a car. Um, Literally, there's train stops everywhere. There's a million train lines. Don't worry about navigating them though, because it's very easy to navigate using Google Maps. Everything is properly mapped out. The trains come on time. The train is clean. The train is quiet. It's really a beautiful sight, honestly. Compared to some other countries where the train might be, dirty and late or whatever. But yeah, Japan, the train is always clean, it's always quiet, it's always on time. However, the negative side of Japan is because the train system is so good, it can get crowded at some points. It can get very crowded in the train, so you may have to stand up with your back up against somebody else. Uh, but it's not like that all the time. So I would still say if you can, definitely public transportation is the way to go in Japan, especially if you're living in Tokyo or Osaka.
Okay. All right. So now let's talk about just a little bit, just a little bit. Um some of the cultural etiquettes, maybe um cultural shocks that somebody may have coming to Japan. I mean, they are Japanese. The country is 95% Japanese, I believe, something like that. What's the cultural shock? What are some of the etiquettes? How do you learn the language? Will you pick up the language when you're there if you don't speak Japanese? Now,
Okay, sure.
I know you went to college um, in Japan and you'd been studying Japanese since the language for about 8 years, I think, before you even got there.
Yeah. So first of all, let's start with the cultural shock and some of the etiquette stuff. One thing I could say about Japanese people, they are very quiet, they're very reserved, and honestly, they're not very deep. Like, for example, you kind of won't get to know a Japanese person for real unless they're your friend, or a close friend. Like, I feel like in Japan, there's a difference between a friend and a real friend. Um, I feel like they don't really open up about themselves as much. So, coming from an American perspective, where people will usually open up to you after like the first 2 3 times meeting. If you really want to get to know a Japanese person, it's gonna take some time to know them, and you're gonna have to put a lot of effort into the friendship, and really give them some time to start opening up to you, and see their real personality. Um, in Japanese, there's a phrase called honne and tatemae. And honne is your real self, and tatemae is kind of the front that you put on for society. So, in on your regular day basis, most people, Japanese people, are in tatemae mode. Um, and that's not always a bad thing because everybody's so friendly and cordial with each other, and that's because they're not showing their real selves. So, for example, you go to the store and like the cashier, they're gonna be so nice to you. You're gonna be so happy, and you're gonna think like that's their real personality, but it's not. They're just putting on that front to save their face. This culture is very based on respect, and kind of you always want to show the best version of yourself to the public and keep the peace. Yeah, I would say definitely one big aspect of Japanese culture is keeping the peace. You don't want to sort of put yourself out there too much. You kind of just want to blend in. So if you walk around here, you won't see too many people with flashy hairstyles or like a bunch of dyes or a bunch of tattoos. Like the goal is to blend in, it's not to stick out. So that might not be for everybody. I understand that. Even myself, I'd love to express myself more, but that's just not something that you can really do here. So if you're really like a self-expressive person, then I don't think Japan is the country for you. But if you really want like a safe place where you can walk around at night and everybody's very respectful and kind, Japan might be the place for you. In terms of some etiquette, that might surprise Americans moving to Japan. Number one, you gotta be quiet in the train. You gotta be quiet in the train. Japanese people do not like it when people are talking on the train. You're supposed to shut up and ride the train. That's the big one. So yeah, just be quiet, ride the train, and do your best not to speak super loudly. Second one,
Do you remember my first time when I came to
not
Japan
what
and I was
happened.
talking and nobody would talk to me?
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. No, they don't
I'll
play
never
about
forget
that.
that. That was one. Hey,
Yeah,
I understand the quiet part. Do they tip in Japan?
no, there's no tipping. In fact, if you do tip, they will forcefully give the money back to you. But it's like, no, like this is not part of the culture. So absolutely no tipping. And even if you do try to tip, they will give you the money back. So
Okay. All right, so
yeah,
now let's talk about it. You're a young man. You are living in a foreign country. At some point, you're going to be coming back to the United States. What's the club scene like?
for sure.
And
So
listen, I know you live in Ibaraki, so let's talk about the Tokyo and Osaka club scene.
for sure, for sure. So first of all, like I'm gonna go with the music. I like hip hop. I was born and raised in Chicago. So like hip hop is definitely been some music that I've always listened to.
Is there a
So
lot of hip hop there?
yeah, yeah, Japanese people like hip hop a lot. I think Japanese people actually really embrace black culture, which is kind of surprising because I feel like Japanese and black culture is pretty different. But I feel like Like actually, like a lot of Japanese people really like black culture here. So there's definitely hip hop clubs in Tokyo. I would suggest Ghost. Ghost is a really fun time. You could ask my little brother. You could ask my cousin. We had a great time at Ghost, the three of us.
That's a
I can
club,
also
right?
suggest that's a club. It's called Ghost. Is in Osaka. I can also suggest in Osaka, there's a club called Giraffe. They have 4 floors. So I think one floor is like pop, one floor is like EDM, one floor is hip hop, and one floor is like Latin or Afro beats or something. So that's probably the biggest club in Osaka. I think that might have actually changed the name. But the Tokyo version of Giraffe, which is the club with multiple floors and multiple styles of music, it's called Atom. Um, that was probably the best club I've been to in Tokyo was Atom. So yeah, if you guys like to party,
Okay.
I'm with my dad, so I know he was a partier back in the day. But
Back in the
Atom is the
day.
way to go in Tokyo.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So let's talk about we're gonna we're bringing this thing home. Um, there's one elephant in the room, and I need to bring this up for our viewers. Because it may not apply to everyone. So as part of this series, I have to ask, dating in Japan, what's it like? I mean, so it dating and finding friends. I want to take it that way, but you know, what's the dating scene like for somebody like you? How do you meet women or men or whatever, you know?
sure, sure. So first of all, there are dating apps in Japan. I feel like, especially if you're a foreigner coming to Japan, I would suggest the dating app Bumble. In America, you're used to Tinder. In Tinder in Japan, they don't like to show their faces. I feel like Japanese people are very concerned about their privacy. So Japanese people like will do their best to not show their face, especially on Tinder. But also those girls on Tinder are Japanese girls who are looking for Japanese guys. But there's this app called Bumble, and Bumble is basically well, I'm coming at this from a male perspective, but Bumble is basically an app where Japanese girls are looking for foreigner guys. So I would say like if you're a foreigner guy in Japan, don't even worry about Tinder. Uh, go straight to Bumble. Now, um, if you're like can speak good Japanese, there's some other dating apps like Tapple and Pairs. Um, but those are all in Japanese. So and also most likely the girls on there will be looking for Japanese guys. But I'll say for dating, obviously you can go meet some girl while you're out, at work or, at a bar or at the library. Of course, those natural meetings still happen or like setting your friends up with friends. That still does happen. But we're talking about the big 25 here, big 2025. So, um, maybe some people are too shy to do that. So for you shy people out there, Bumble is the way to go in
All right.
Japan.
All
In
right.
terms of let me do friends real quick too.
Sure.
So
That's important.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So in terms of making friends in Japan, honestly, I can say it is a little bit more difficult than making friends in America. Um, because like I said earlier, Japanese people are more reserved and because they're more reserved, they're not gonna really trust you as a friend until they've spent a lot of time with you. So really making friends in Japan is like first of all taking like some time to make sure you bond with that person and gaining their trust. Um so another way you can get Japanese people to be your friends is by drinking with them. because, they're so like got this societal pressure to remain normal and regular life. But as soon as like, some drinks start flowing, their personality, like their real personality comes out. So for example, say if you join say you're into boxing. I'm into Muay Thai, but let's just use boxing as an example. Say you join a boxing club and you're sparring with the same guys every day, and eventually you start up a conversation, and after practice one day some of the guys they invite you to go for a drink, and then you're gonna find like their real personality after you go out for drinks with them, honestly, because they're gonna really open up to you there, and then you could like decide like I want to be friends with the person or I don't want to be friends with the person. But overall, I would just say first join a club. Japan has clubs. Go to your. I work at a community center, so I'm gonna of course promote the community center. Go to your local community center. They're gonna have some type of clubs, some type of circles going on for maybe people who are into badminton, basketball, whatever. They have something for everything. Um, Also, if you're a foreigner in Japan, I would highly suggest going to a Japanese language class. Most city halls will offer free Japanese lessons for foreign residents. Um, so yeah, you're just definitely gonna. You may not meet Japanese people at those Japanese classes, but you will definitely make some foreigner friends. And of course, it's great to make Japanese friends, but I would definitely say it's great to have some friends from your own country too. Just someone who you can always relate to. If you're feeling homesick, you can talk about, man, I love college football. No Japanese person knows about college football. So I've got my American friends in Japan to talk about college football with. So, just that type of stuff. You definitely want to make some friends with people from other foreigners and people from your own country. So,
All right. So listen, you're an American. Your adult professional life has been in a foreign country, whether it's been Thailand or now in Japan. You know, so it's this is kind of an unfair question to ask, but have you changed a lot?
yeah, for sure. Honestly, funny enough, I would say I've changed a lot this year, but really going from Thailand, in Thailand, once again, Thailand and Japan are the same, like on the same Asian continent. Thai culture and Japanese culture could not be more different. It's Thai culture and Japanese culture, they can't even be in the same sentence. It's completely different. So really, I would say like something that I've learned from my Thailand portion of living is to just relax, chill, have fun, be social. I can say truly before I moved to Thailand, I was definitely like much shyer. Even like doing something like this, like I feel like I wouldn't be rambling on like I am now. But like Thai people, man, they're like they're so chill in life. They're always smiling. And it's not like a Japanese smile, like it's a genuine, like we're just like
Okay.
happy to live type smile. And I really took some of that like Thai vibe, and I kind of became more social from that, and definitely less shy, much more comfortable speaking with people. This year, I've changed a lot, specifically in Japan, because this is kind of my first year that I'm doing everything by myself. Previously, when I worked in Japan, I worked for an ALT company, and they do things for you, such as finding an apartment, finding a car, doing your visa stuff, da 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 da. This year, literally, I did everything myself. So, like, I had to get a new phone by myself. I had to do my visa stuff by myself. I had to find a job by myself. I had to do like all the city hall stuff by myself. That literally no help. So I feel like I've really matured into an adult this year, because this is like the first time in my life where I've kind of felt like alone, and especially being in a foreign country and not having like the support of your family. Well, obviously I have the support of my family, but like
Yes.
they don't really know the Japanese system. Like that. So really like having no advice specifically on the Japanese system and way to do things. I felt like I've definitely become much more independent this year. And yeah, I mean, I've been living in Japan for like 2 years, and I've already had 3 cars. So, like like, bro, I don't know. But, yeah, so I'd definitely say, like, from Thailand, I took definitely that the main thing I learned from Thai culture is having the positive, always smiling, always happy Thai vibe. And in Japan, I've definitely felt like I've learned to be more socially aware of people and kind of knowing what it takes to know a person. And yeah, I've definitely this year become more independent.
I just want to go over a couple quick things. You're 26 years old now. Who were a in your prefecture, and a prefecture would be equivalent to a state here in the United States. I know you've taken up Muay Thai, and you were a champion fighter over there, and you got a chance to fight for the national championship as well,
No,
which
no,
didn't
no.
go
In
the
the
way
in the
you want
Yamagata
it.
Prefectural Championship. That was this year I lost. Last year I did win that. But yeah, I did. I've done some Muay Thai tournaments here in Japan. I've done tournaments in Tokyo. I've done some in Yamagata, and I did get invited to one pro fight one time. That was when I was leaving Higashine to move down here, so that never happened. I'm not a pro fighter. But yeah, definitely if you get into Japan, um, Muay Thai culture is not big here, but it's honestly such a great way to meet friends. So I highly
I just want to go over. Listen, because I know you so well. I know that you've been. I'm just going to go through the list on my own, and you let me know if you missed. I know you've been to Mexico. I know you've been to Norway, Sweden, Switzerland. Okay, Finland. You've been to Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, South Korea. Have you been to China? You haven't been to China? I
say
want to
what's
thank
more.
everybody for sticking around and watching the show today with my special guest, Anwar. He is a young man who has traveled the world, had a chance to see a lot of different things. Anwar, if you don't mind, can I put your Instagram tag in the description below if somebody wants to reach out to you and ask you a question
And
at More Speak Love? Okay, so we'll put that in the bottom. And listen to my viewers out there. I'm I'm trying to grow my channel. If you like this content, there's more coming. Please subscribe, share it with others.
uh,
All of the information that he provided will be below if you want to click on a link to it. And Anwar, I want to thank you for your time today.